What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another channel. What? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. If you're new to the videos, my name is Mo. This is my channel, Mo Nation. So just got back from doing a little bike ride, which is something new that we're trying out. In this video, let's talk about water tanks and stuff like that. I thought this would be a pretty good video to make. I think I've made one back in the past, but since then I have actually upgraded water tanks, and I had a whole video put together that I was putting together showing you how to install it, how to put the water pump and all that stuff, and I lost the SD card. So sadly, this is like the remake, but not so good as the other one. So number one, a lot of people ask me how much water do they need to carry. I started off with a 35-gallon tank, and then eventually I got a 30-gallon like rain collection tank that I use as like a storage. So altogether I was carrying about 65 gallons. And that was enough. Now when I do the 18-wheelers, it's really not enough. It's enough for one, the truck and the trailer, but really I'm stretching it by a lot. And I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all a new tank that I just got right here. This is my old water tank. I had put a little hole in there for the return line and all that stuff, and I'll explain the return line for the water pump and all that. This was the second tank that I had. It's just a rain collection tank. It actually has a top, and what I use it for now is, as y'all can see, I got all my pads in there. So I use this to soak my pads, I use it to soak my towels and all that stuff. So I put some hot water up in there, I put the pads on some towels up in there, and I let it soak overnight. So I do want to say, before I show y'all my van is a mess. The floor is all torn up, and it needs a remodel. I'm not even gonna lie. And I've been saying I'm gonna do a remodel on it for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it, because when I do it, I want it to be good and all that stuff. So the floor that I put down actually isn't like waterproof, I guess you could say. So it has swelled and warped and all that stuff, and now it's just falling apart. So hopefully in the next coming months, I talked to my dad, but that's supposed to calm down one of these days and help me redo it. So hopefully it'll happen soon. Carrying about 100 gallons is good. That's about where you want to be, and that's just my opinion. 100 gallons is good, just in case you do some extra vehicles within that day, which has happened to me, where, you know, I'm at my repeat customer house and they're like, hey, can you take care of this? And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, if it's just a wash. So let's go ahead and get to it. So just like anybody else, I was looking on Marketplace, I was looking everywhere for a water tank. And most of y'all already know, water tanks are expensive. The 35-gallon that I got when I bought it about 2 years ago, I paid 110 or 120 or something like that. I saw the same water tank listed for like 150, 160 or something like that, which is ridiculous. So if you want a 100-gallon tank, it's probably gonna cost you around $250 to $300. So I've been, like I said, looking on Facebook Market, and I actually found a tank that was 125, and I just took too long to go and get it. Once I went over there to go grab it, it was already gone, and all they had was a 225 tank. So it is pretty huge. If it's in the van, and it is huge, I'm never gonna fill it up to the top. And the most I carry in there is like 80 to 90 gallons. But here's my 225-gallon tank, and I've been having it for over about 2 weeks now. I think it's been 2 weeks, and it works great. All right, so I haven't had any issues of running out of water or nothing like that. Not that I was before, but I just feel a little bit more comfortable, and I feel a little bit more confident with having a bigger water tank. Especially with doing like big trucks and stuff, or just doing like lifted trucks that's full of mud where I have to use extra water. So with this, I do use a little bit more water than what I normally was, because it's there. So with this, I try to keep all my like wash stuff right here, in this spot. So this is for the wheels and tires and buds. My wash bucket, the pump is down here, the pressure washer is actually up here, and all that stuff. So I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the pump. So obviously I have a line you can't really see that's coming from the tank. It goes straight to my pump, and then I have these 3 connections. This first line is going to be a return line, so that way the pump can stay on and it never gets hot. One issue I do have is the hoses that I'm using. They sometimes get pinched, as y'all can see, like with this one, it's starting to do that. And it's pulling the water but not good like it's supposed to, so sometimes it does cause the pump to turn off. And I'm trying to find a solution for that problem. This second line in the middle is to a water hose that goes all the way to the back of the van. Let me show y'all that. So right here is the third line that y'all saw in the middle. Not the third line, the second line y'all saw in the middle. I come back here, I put some quick disconnects, boom, and that's how I fill up my buckets in the back and all that stuff. And then this last line right here, this goes to the pressure washer, and y'all already know how that kind of works. So one thing that I did do differently than last time is I put quick disconnects on pretty much every single line. As y'all can see, quick disconnect, all those have a quick disconnect, even on the pressure washer. I wish I would have done that in the beginning. So if you're watching this and you haven't got your setup yet, get quick disconnects even for the pressure washer. So my pressure washer is hooked up to a switch. So basically I turn my pump on. Once my pump is running, I don't really necessarily have to turn on the pressure washer because it has that return line. It's just gonna keep going into the tank and cycling through. Whenever I'm ready, I come right here, press the on button, and it turns on the pressure washer up front, and that's pretty much how that works. So even for the, y'all see my floor all torn apart and stuff, even for the pressure washer I added quick disconnects. And this, I don't know why I didn't do this in the beginning. I really don't know why, but having quick disconnects helps a bunch. And especially if you have an issue where something is leaking, you need to change a hose, you need to change the gun or anything like that, it makes your life 10 times easier. So my advice to everybody is to get some quick disconnects for everything. This hose right here, obviously I told y'all this is to fill my water bucket up, but also I use this right here is like a battery operated pressure washer. I use this for the engine bay. So I've kind of like modified the hose in a way to where it connects to the back of the van, and it has pressure that goes, obviously it's connected to the water pump. So you got the pressure. And I put a little on and off switch on it right here to where I can shut it off, shut it on, or whatever. Shut it off and turn it on whenever I want to with this electric, not electric, but a battery operated pressure washer. I use this mostly for engine bays. I use this for like if the wheels are damaged and I feel like my pressure washer may knock something off. The paint, it breaks. Like sometimes just the slightest pressure would knock the paint off of those brakes if they wasn't done right. So that's what I have saved that for. So like I said, 225 gallons. I don't fill it up no more than 100. And honestly, it's not even really at 100. It's really at probably like, I'm gonna say safely 70 to 90 gallons, because the way my driveway sits a little up, so it looks like it has a little bit more than what it has. Talk about the issues of the water tank. So one thing that you want to keep in mind whenever you're picking out a water tank is, can whatever you're using to haul that water tank around hold that weight of water that you're gonna have in there. So I'm gonna try to calculate it. I don't really know, but you got to think that how much does 35 gallons worth of water weigh? Can your vehicle, can the transmission and all that stuff handle that type of stuff? So one thing about me is that I have a Ford E350. This is the Super Duty, if I'm not mistaken. So this is like the big church van. So this was a prisoner van or whatever, and it can hold the weight that I'm putting in the water tank. Even if I probably fill it up to about 150 gallons, it could definitely hold that weight with no issue at all. Now, one thing to expect if you're gonna be hauling around water, depending on how much water you're hauling around, is your gas mileage may change, wear and tear on like tires and suspension. Just make sure your brakes and all that stuff is good. and the position of where you put the water tank. That I feel like that is very important. So if you notice, mine's is right there. I try to put it right in the middle. That way the weight is evenly. Now, one thing I have noticed since I have gotten this big water tank is that I can now feel the water like splashing back and forth. It has not caused an issue, but it is something that I keep in mind. Whenever I'm at a stoplight, I can feel the van kind of rock a little bit because of the water inside of there. So that is one of the reasons why I don't want to fill it up all the way to 225 gallons, because I don't really need to. Every night I've put maybe 10 or 20 gallons in it, whatever I feel like I need for the next day. So it's really not an issue. And the position is important as well, because say like if I was traveling in my Durango, you want to make sure that the water tank is tied down or whatever, strapped down, whatever, good. Because say if you do get in somebody gets in front of you or whatever, you slam on your brakes, you do not want that water to come forward and crush you. So one thing about the van is that the water tank's behind that seat. That seat is in a bracket that's mounted to the van. So I doubt that water tank would actually break those brackets. I doubt it. But if my daughter is riding with me or anything like that, a lot of times I make sure that there's little to no water inside of that tank, or I just empty it out or whatever, or we just take the GA. So I try to avoid having her in here, but there is sometimes where I do have to go and pick her up from daycare because I'm already in that area and it just makes sense. I do refill on water at my house, so I know for other people, y'all have to go places to get water, so it does make sense to go ahead and fill that up, and you know that'll last you for I don't know how long, a couple of days or whatever, till you have to go back and fill up again. So in that sense, that does make sense. But if you don't have to bring all that water with you every single day, then obviously to me I feel like I wouldn't do it. So another thing is gravity fed, or you want to do water pump. Now I've done both. I prefer the water pump because whenever I was doing gravity fed, I just feel like I had to always prime the pressure washer, you know, take the lid off, or I had to connect the hose, turn the hose on, let some water run out, hurry up and screw it up and all that stuff. Now I just press one button and that's it. So I press the button to turn the pressure washer on, and I don't have to do none of that stuff. To me, it's just a lot quicker. Now, one thing I have noticed with doing a water pump is that I feel like I use more water than what I was using before. That is one thing that I did notice once I started doing it. Another thing I've noticed is that the pressure washer was not working as hard as it was before. So that's one thing. I see a lot of people saying that they go through a lot of different pressure washers, and that's one thing to kind of consider if you are doing gravity fed, is that your pressure washer is probably working a little harder than what it normally has to work, because it's also pulling, and then I guess you could say it's pulling and pushing out the water, instead of having that pressure from the faucet or whatever pushing it in to where it doesn't have to work as hard. So I have a Wyobi, I think 1200, 1300 or something like that PSI. I've been having it for over a year, haven't had an issue. I kind of think it may be on its way out, but I'm really not sure. I think it's just pretty much due to the way I got these hoses. And once I figure that out to where they're not pinching, or I can find something to where it doesn't pinch like that, I think we're gonna be good. You could put a lot of wear and tear on like your transmission, the engine, and all that stuff, and it could cause a lot of issues down the line. Obviously, if you're using a truck, it's totally different, or an SUV or something like that. But depending on if you're using a small car, I would definitely be a little cautious and try to figure out ways to make sure you anchor down that water tank to where it's not sliding and moving, or like I said earlier, crush you. So hit me up on social media and just give me a little bit and I'll get back to you. So thank you for watching. I hope you have had a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.